With employee engagement levels within the Western world at an all-time low, it's critical as a leader or an aspirational leader to ensure that you're focusing in on your communication skills. Now, one of the most important aspects for a leader is to ensure that you're communicating with effectiveness and with quality. Now, many of you have seen my videos in the past, and you know that I'm advocating the implementation of a high-performance team environment. Now, this is critical to your communication skills. Now, why is that? Well, a high-performance team is a team of individuals with complementary skills and capabilities that come together with a common purpose, with an established set of values that they all agree to, and with a belief in the ultimate objective that the team or the organization is looking to accomplish. Within that high-performance team environment is a strong level of trust and integrity. It provides the leader and the aspirational leader with the platform and the opportunity to communicate effectively, frequently, and with quality. Now, how do you do this? Now, typically, what you've seen in the past perhaps are sort of more representative of hierarchical or traditional organizations. Your town halls, your fireside chats, these kinds of things. Now, I would advocate that you use technology as a means of ensuring a great level of communication. Now, many of you have used Slack. If you're a Microsoft Office, you'll use Teams. I certainly do advocate using one of those platforms as a collaboration tool. They're a great way of making sure that you're communicating both what your objective is and then how everybody's aligning around that objective. It gives you as a leader the opportunity to use that platform as well to communicate. But what I would also advocate, in particular if you're leading a global organization, is use, again, technology. Use video conferencing capabilities like Zoom to be able to communicate and broadcast your message out on a regular basis to your team, whether they are domestic or whether they are in the international theater. And I think it's really important is to recognize as well that yes, you may have that office environment and people around you and you can communicate with them, the water cooler talk, or you can have sort of side chats, etc. But you have to make sure everyone across the entire team feels included no matter what the time zone. So use technology. The other is, and I would really advocate this as well, depending on the number of direct reports that you have, I think it's really important that you spend time in one-on-one scenarios. And those one-on-one scenarios, yes, they can be scheduled, it's important. However, I think more critically is ensuring that you as a leader set the expectation that when people do come in to have those one-on-one conversations with you, that there's an actual agenda. How many of you out there, as leaders or participants working for an individual leading the organization, have run into situations where you kind of walk into that one-on-one scenario and you really don't know what you want to talk about, or you just sort of make stuff up because you have the half hour. So as a leader, make sure you set that expectation from day one that there's an agenda, a purpose, and an outcome for the one-on-one sessions that you have. The other is, I would also advocate, whether it's a SLT, so a senior leadership team that you're guiding and that you're supporting, or a broader team organization as well, have those regular team meetings. Now, how many meetings do we have every single day? That's important. Of course, what's important as a leader or as an aspirational leader is to ensure, what's important as a leader or an aspirational leader is to ensure that it is a two-way. Don't have these kinds of meetings where you are sitting in, the lead chair, the head chair, and you kind of go around the horn giving people an opportunity to give you an update. How meaningful is that? I've sat through many of those meetings and I can tell you, not only are they boring, but they're ineffective. So if it's a two-way street, you challenge the individual within your organization to come forward with where they stand in terms of reaching your objectives, but at the same time, give them an opportunity to pose questions, to present challenges, and to look to you for context and input to how to overcome those particular challenges and obstacles. Of course, a lot of pre-work has to be done as well to get you to that point, but the fact of the matter is that these kinds of conversations, these team meetings, have to be two-way. Please, don't just make them one-way. Please, don't just make them one way. Now, in my past videos, you may have also seen that I recognize a number of leaders who are excelling at their use of social media as a means of communicating effectively across the organization. And you saw that I recognized the CEO of NASDAQ for her ability to be able to utilize the entire array, at least of the most dominant social media platforms today. And she utilizes that as, again, her mechanism to be able to communicate effectively in whatever format the individual wants to be able to consume that information and to hear from leadership. And I think it's an effective step as well, and something, again, particularly for aspirational leaders, to recognize that you can excel. You can set yourself apart from your counterparts and your peers with your effective use of social media and those platforms to ensure that you're communicating effectively, with quality, and with context. At the same time, don't hide behind social media. Ensure that there's also that personal connection and that personal interaction. And for those, again, who have global organizations, make sure that you travel outside of HQ. Go into those, what I call satellite offices within the country, but then you know what? Challenge yourself. You've got the time. You've got, hopefully, the motivation. Get out into your international locations as well. Spend the time. Sit down with your team, your senior leadership team in those markets, and take the opportunity as well to hear from the grassroots. Sit down and take the time to actually hear from the grassroots. You know what? One of the most effective means as well that I've seen from leaders, and I've done this myself, is particularly when you're in international markets, take the opportunity to set yourself out in a social setting. Sit down with 8 to 10 individuals, give them the opportunity to kind of let their hair down, ask you some of the hard questions, challenge you, and then give them context and input back. Don't just give them back corporate speak. Tell them the goods. Give them the idea as to where you stand from a company perspective and how important and how meaningful they are to your success. I'm Gregory Wade. You're watching The Defender. Don't forget to like, share, and comment below, and subscribe to my YouTube channel.